So welcome to this conversation with College Times Alia. First of all, I have to tell you that you've been looking like a vision in white during all your promotions for Gangubai. So tell us, what's the significance of white in Gangubai's character and your personality?
Well, I really identify with the color white. I always have. I think it's even in like it's my go-to color, whether it's for my walls or for my bag or for my shoes or for my clothes. It blends with everything. It's a symbol of purity. You can say that. In Gangubai's life, white. The reason that she's so into white is never really. It's something that actually I feel like the audience should decide. But there was this thing she used to always wear white. So we've followed that palette through the film. There is a lovely scene on when she why she chooses white and what she feels about the color white. Like there are you may say it's just one type of safed, but there are different types of safed in Gangu's eyes. That's the way she looks at life.
Okay.
So every color of white is different. So there's a lovely scene that depicts that, which when you see the film, you'll know what scene I'm talking about once that scene comes. But the feeling and the visual of seeing her in white is more for the audience and for the people around her to know her by, and kind of make their own sort of understanding as to why that white is so symbolic to her.
Yeah. And Alia, of course, you must be on a high because Gangubai just premiered at the Berlin Film Festival. But besides all the glamour and the glitz of actually presenting your movie to a new audience and walking a red carpet in some really gorgeous clothes once again, what's your personal takeaway from the whole experience?
I think there's something very sweet and vulnerable when a team comes and brings their film to a foreign land and sort of is presenting the work that they've done for 3 years. It's a very proud moment for the whole team. So the takeaway is more the team's faces, the anticipation, the dreams, the aspirations when we were all waiting backstage before we were called on stage to address the audience once the film was over, to receive all their kind applause and warmth. I take a moment to just look at the faces of the team and the people that have worked on the film, because that for me is my biggest takeaway. It's the dream, and of course the red carpet, the glamour, all of that is there. But at the end of the day, we all put in work and effort into something, hoping it reaches somewhere. So this is that kind of moment where that hope is somehow materializing in front of your eyes, sort of live at the moment.
Also, from playing a very carefree student, if we may say so, in your first movie, to becoming to working as the madam of a brothel or a mafia queen, so to say, in Gangubai. Could you explain to us the evolution of the choices that you make when it comes to picking up your roles or characters? Has it changed, or how has it changed over the years?
There's a certain amount of and expectation you have from yourself as a person to keep your mind active and challenged. For me, I don't go to work, or I'm not an actor because I have to be. It's because I want to be. So when I play a part, and I play a character, it has to change something within me, or it has to take me to a new space. So that's possibly the reason I choose different parts and different characters. And sometimes you just do things for fun. Sometimes you just do things for relationships. Sometimes you do films for like, I mean, tomorrow I may be offered this film in New York, and I'm like, okay, I want to go because I want to go to New York. I may do a film for that reason also. It's random. It's never the same. But mainly, it's usually to sort of challenge yourself.
And speaking about challenging roles, I mean, Alia, I mean, you've been very bold, I would, if I dare to say so, to, right at the beginning, to actually kind of confront the fact that you had a lot of qualms while taking on this role, and that this might not be the option that people actually might, the initial feedback that you got from the movie, you just actually met it pretty headlong. So how do you overcome this constant battering of the ego or confidence? Because that's something that a lot of us can identify with. but you're in the limelight. How do you handle that pressure?
I'm very comfortable with who I am. So I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm just trying to satisfy, like I said, that actor and that person in me. Um, so the love just comes along with it and it's great. And I, of course, I believe audience is king, and that's the reason we do movies. And I feel like the minute you have love for something and that's genuinely in your eyes and there's an honesty, the audience will catch it and they will love it back, or they will feel something good about it back. The minute the decisions become calculative and manipulative, they start seeing it. So even if there was a certain section that did have reservations, or even still do have reservations, I expect that to change when they see the film, and even if it doesn't, I'm okay with that. That's their life, and they have a right to their opinion.
Do you also see this as like a constant battling with the physicality? Because obviously people expect you to behave in a certain way because of the way you look, dainty, a little bubbly. Is that like a thing that you've found yourself coming across while acting, while taking on a
But
role?
I've never taken dainty, bubbly parts anyway. I from the beginning of my
Yes.
career, done films like Highway, Urta Punjab, Razi. I've always changed it up. Physicality wise, I believe that's a structure in your body, has nothing to do with your inner strength and core. So I've done and given enough actions to prove that that has nothing to do with it. It's up to the people now to notice that or not. Like there's an ignorance that comes with just looking at a certain face, and maybe because I'm a happy, light person most of the time. So I would say some of the time. Most of the time, we're all going through something or the other, and we're trying to deal with it. And I just try and always be positive and happy. So then they think like I'm a bubbly person, but let me tell you, I'm not. Like, I think everybody has their good days and their bad days.
Mhm. Okay. And also in Gangubai, what we particularly liked is, you love to see these bold, strong women on the screen. And that's something that comes across pretty very well in the trailer. And, you've always played a lot of these strong characters, like you mentioned, whether it be Utta Punjab, Highway, Rasi in a certain way, but you've also played it with a certain bit of vulnerability. But if you come to Gangubai as such, do you think your characters, all the ones that I've mentioned, plus Gangubai in particular, according to you, are they a product of destiny or the choices that they have made in their lives
A
on screen?
combination of both. I think everybody has regrets, and I'm sure even when you watch the film, you will feel that Gangubai to a certain extent had a regret of something. But sometimes you can make the right choices, but still destiny will take you somewhere. But sometimes the some you need to go somewhere to get somewhere else, and you may not see it immediately, but that may come up later. That if Gangubai hadn't, what happened to Gangubai wouldn't have happened to Gangubai. Would she have been able to be that voice for the women of Kamaripura for all those years?
Also, is this more of a pressure or a burden for you when you're actually playing a real character?
Hmm, I don't look at it as a pressure or burden. In fact, when I feel like you know lesser about the person, more just plot points in their life, there's more of of a mystery, and you can create something really lovely and just put something together that makes all the plot points come together.
Okay. Coming to Sanjay Leela Bhansali now, in every interview that we watched of yours, you made the whole process sound really kind of strenuous and exhausting for you as an actor. Okay, is that, I mean, how do you, and obviously Bhansali himself has mentioned how, it's one of the best films that he has directed and it's one of the toughest roles that you have played. How do you see the whole process of it? I mean, you mentioned earlier about the challenge of taking on a role like this, but physically,
I don't believe a challenge like this is complete without the exhaustion and that hard work. So let me tell you, while I did go through that experience, I don't think I expect anything less out of it. Because if I don't go through that process, then I'm not sure whether the churning and the changing will actually take place for that to kind of come on screen. So that happened so that that could happen. And I'm happy that it did. Um,
okay.
and he, as a director, Um, I don't think that anybody has bothered so much about my ability, best of my abilities, than Sanjay sir has, in that sense that he is very intuitive and instinctive, and it's like he can see there's something hidden underneath, and sometimes it takes 2 takes to come out, sometimes it takes 7, sometimes it takes 1, sometimes it takes 11, like, but it'll come. And that relentlessness and that awareness that, okay, now this is that take and this is that moment, only sir has. And I know for a fact that there hasn't been a dishonest moment between the take that he thinks is the take and the take that I think is the, there's always like a synergy in what I think, okay, I felt it in my body and he feels it in his body as well.
Okay. Finally, Alia, actors always talk about actually taking a bit of the most of the characters that they play on screen. As such, what is it about Gangubai or trait in her personality that you have kind of were able to identify with and you walked away with
I
from
think
the?
that the fact that she's so comfortable with herself, she doesn't consider her profession any different from anybody else's profession. Somebody introduces themselves as XYZ and she introduces herself as who she is in her profession. And she says it with clarity because in her opinion, if this is her profession, this is her profession, very comfortable with who she is. So I think that's what I've taken, that I'm very comfortable with who I am. I'm not trying to make too many hard points and have too much of acceptance or appreciation all constantly coming my way. It takes a lot of energy to try and impress and be likable to everyone. So I think I'm not being a rebel, but I'm also just being extremely comfortable with who I am and accepting that as opposed to pretending otherwise.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alia. We look forward to watching the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you.